Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to another Smartpreneur Live with me, Tallulah. Today we're joined by an amazing guest. I'm going to wait for more of you guys to get in here and then we're going to start the session. In the meantime, let me pin today's topic. Okay, so let's do this. It's why multiple streams of income. Okay. Hello, hi, thanks for joining us. I'm just pinning our topic. Okay, so that's today's topic. Let me pin that so everybody who's coming in can see what we're going to be chatting about. Pinned. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. We have an amazing guest today. I'm really excited about today's session because I feel like, you know, it's going to be a time of great learning, of great insight. And I think we're also going to get some gist, which I always like. So, just waiting for our guest to join us. Good evening, Kimberly. Thank you for joining us. Let me see if our guest is here. Hold on. Okay, we're still waiting on our guest. In the meantime, I want to talk to you guys about Smartpreneur. If anyone watching right now is an entrepreneur, you've been in business for 3 years or more, and you would like to come on the show, because in case you guys don't know, we have a TV show version of Smartpreneur. It shows on TVC on Saturdays at 5:45 p.m. So if you would like to come on there as a guest, please let me know. Okay. Hi, thank you. Hello to everyone who's just joined. Thank you for joining us. We're just waiting on our guest, SEGAlink, to join us, and then we're going to start. So hopefully he will be here in a couple of minutes. Is SEGAlink with us? No, not yet. No, we also have an amazing website, www.smartpreneur.ng. Should I pin that as well? Maybe I should pin that as well. On there you can find lots of resources for SMEs and entrepreneurs, everything from information about tax, about raising finance, about marketing, about digital marketing. There's a bunch of amazing information on there, lots of very useful resources. So if you are in the SME space, please do check us out, www.smartpreneur.ng. Let me actually type that. Smartpreneur, excuse me, it's Smartpreneur, so I'm trying to spell it right, .ng. Yeah, awesome. So please do check us out. Hi darling, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me. SEGAlink should be here very shortly. We're going to be talking about why multiple streams of income. If you guys are watching, do you have multiple streams of income? If you don't, is it something that you're working towards? I do have multiple streams of income, I think. Yes, I do. Well, more than one is multiple, right? So yeah, more than one. I think it's really important, especially, you know, with all this stuff going on with the COVID, with the economy sort of, you know, not being in its best shape. I think the more streams of income we can have and the more ways that we can diversify our businesses, our income streams, the better. And I think even if you're selling offline and you go on to selling offline, if you're selling offline, you go to selling online, that's also another stream of income. But I'm not the expert. SEGAlink is the expert. So let's see if he's here so he can give us more insight into that. SEGAlink is not with us yet. Nope, not yet. Okay. Well, before he comes, if you guys have any questions for SEGAlink, he's amazing. He's responsible for the NSARS campaign. He's also an entrepreneur with multiple streams of income. So he's a social activist, social human rights activist, and also an entrepreneur. Those are two very unique spaces to be in. So we're going to hear his thoughts on, you know, how he got into being an activist. That's what I'm most interested in. When I see people who are so passionate about, you know, advocating for causes like NSARS, I'm just full of admiration. And I just want to know how, you know, because it's one thing to be passionate about something, but it's another thing to actually take action, you know, create a whole movement, get people behind you, and, you know, create social impact and change. So I can't wait to hear how he did that. If you guys have any questions before SEGAlink joins us, please do leave your questions in the question box, and I will put them to him once he joins us. Let me check once again. Okay, he's still not with us. What's the time? It's about 10 past. Okay, well, let's talk. Since SEGAlink is not with us, how has your week been? Do you guys have any... oh, SEGAlink is with us. Oh, thank God, he's here. Fantastic. Okay, so let me add him. Oh, beautiful. And we can start. We're just waiting for him to join. I think the network is being a little bit slow. Hi, SEGAlink, how are you?
Good evening, I'm good.
Evening. It's so nice to have you with us. I was worried. I was like, I thought maybe we'd given you the wrong time.
Thank you very much. I was around. I was just trying to wait for you to get ready.
Thank you very much. Everyone's very excited to listen to you, to what you have to say, to get to know a bit more about your background. And, you know, I'm so fascinated by your social activism. So I want to talk to you about how that came about. I feel like 1 hour is not going to be enough for all the stuff that we have to
I was wondering too.
To delve into, but no matter, we're gonna start. I think more people are being told that we are online, so more people will join us in the course of our conversation. But for now, everyone is eagerly awaiting, so let me not keep them waiting anymore. Let me delve into your bio. So if you guys have questions, like I said, please do write them in the question box so I can put them to SEGAlink later on in our conversation. Right, so this is your bio. Here we go. Our guest is Segun Awosanya. You're popularly known as SEGAlink, and you are a Nigerian realtor, human rights activist, media marketing consultant, creative and technical director, and broadcast engineer. That's an amazing list of things. I think most people just achieve one of those things in a lifetime, but you've got all of them down. Okay, so you're popularly known for convening the NSARS campaign against police brutality in Nigeria, which yielded results when a total overhaul of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, also known as SARS, was announced. You're also the CEO of Aliens Media, and Aliens Media is a futuristic brand, media and technology initiative in the technology consumer business world, with your revolutionary approach to diverse business solutions and training. There's more. I want to get all your bio in here. As a broadcast engineer, you've consulted for firms, governmental and non-governmental organizations on point-to-point radio links, and you have a 10-year track record of creating and developing highly successful and innovative advertising, information technology, technical support, and direct marketing campaigns.
Wow. That's
I was just trying to get through it all, but I wanted to say it all. Okay, fantastic. So thank you for joining us. Let us first start with what I guess you're most known for, which is NSARS. That was huge. I don't think there's anybody who didn't know about NSARS. How did that come about? Because as I was saying before you joined us, that it's one thing to be passionate about something and to feel very strongly, but it's another thing to actually create a whole movement behind it. So, most of us were on our social media, we type, we get angry and we forget about it. But that wasn't you. You took it further. So can you sort of talk to us about how it became this huge movement?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on your program. And as I've learned over the years, I realized that sometimes when you shoot a catapult into the market, you are actually targeting somebody from your own home. I never knew that I was going to be talking to the wife of one of my wonderful friends and CEOs, award-winning CEO for that matter, today. And it's just a really small world. I see life as a story. I see life as a journey that, a journey of experience. So as you move along, a lot of people are going to join you on that journey. They're going to want to listen to your story. They're going to want to engage with your story. They're going to want to see how much value you can communicate and you can add to their own journey as well. So, and in that journey, nobody looks forward to arriving because those who arrive dies. So because of that, I've learned to make sense of the crisis around me. I've learned to take advantage of crisis around me. I've learned to differentiate between mere awareness and experience. Sometimes when we all know the sun is there, nobody has been to the sun. We all know the moon is there, nobody has been to the moon. But it is not just about knowing. We know so many things. We are aware of so many things. But most of the time, awareness is not just enough than to experience. When you experience something, you begin to learn how to tell a story. And I believe that no man is one thing, because most of us, 70%, if not more, of the people that you engage every day are not actually engaging what they studied in school. And those who are engaging what they studied in school are actually not doing it based on what they learned in school. They're actually learning a new experience, totally different from what they were told in school. I know a lot of computer engineering students who realized after leaving school that they only studied glorified mathematics. So the same way, I realized that coming out of school is not just an end game for me to rub two cardboards together and get a job. Our employment wasn't cut out for me right from day one, and I realized this. So I felt, how else can people engage me? How else can I influence my society? How else can I make my voice heard out there? By doing something and applying myself in our society. I realized that no matter how big you get in business, not everybody will know you. You only cater to those who know you. And I've seen how many people over the years have seen problems in society and they've jumped over it, because they feel it is not my business. So I saw the way generations over generations have tackled problems, how activists upon activists had come, established their notoriety, printed political posters, ran for office and failed, and then their name got fizzled out like that. Nobody had any other experience of them other than that man that used to fight for human rights then, who became a politician and did not win election, and it ends there. And I've seen the trajectory of a lot of people doing that, and I told myself, I wanted to have an impact in society. It's not about the popularity or establishment of notoriety, but about solving a problem. I don't want to nurse any problem. I don't want to create a niche for myself in that field and create a social enterprise that benefits me while at the expense of other people's trauma or problems. So I felt, how best do we begin to engage our societal problems within our geopolitical space without actually bringing yourself to fore? In other words, selling yourself or marketing yourself by dehumanizing other people or demonizing other people. So I felt it is good to build something from ground up, to engage the public, to understand the problem, to look at the extant laws that are available to address such. If those laws are not there, how do we put those laws in place? So the strategy of NSAS campaign was informed by the conscious revolution paradigm. That's just a short and long story of the whole thing, that we were able to design something that works for all, a model that other people can adopt. But we're not bringing that model to social media, because social media is a vehicle through which we are running that particular program. For example, none of us knew how our computers were coupled. We are not even interested. We just want to use the computer. So what is the utilitarian angle to this solution, to this advocacy? We want to create safe spaces for the youth of Nigeria in order to leave a legacy for our children and generations unborn. That was what we're looking at. So we designed something very simple that is not too simplistic. NSAS, which means end impunity, end all the barbaric attitudes of our tactical squads, because SARS just represents all the tactical squads. It's not just SARS alone, because there are so many of them misbehaving as at that time. So we just said NSAS, Reform Police NG, which was the NSAS was the objective. The Reform Police NG was the end goal of the entire thing. In other words, after we shut down the impunity, build a police system that mirrors society, build a police system that tends to represent, protect, and serve our society. And that's what we did. We're able to shut down the killer squad, as at that time. SARS were killing people anyhow. They will tell you they'll kill you and nothing will happen. And nobody could confront them. In fact, it got so bad that people cannot even tell the story of their experience with SARS for the fear of mortal retribution to themselves. So we're able to break that jinx, win trust from the public because we're speaking their mind. We're feeling the pulse on the street enough to narrate their stories and ensure that we protect them also. There was a witness protection program inside that deal, whereby anybody who gives account of what has happened to them, nothing will come back to. Nobody will come and arrest them or harass them ever again. We've been around for over 5 years now, and there had not been a single testimony of anybody who says, I came to talk about my story with police and they came back to my house to arrest my mother. It has never happened. So we built that strategy in such a way that it was simple, it was easy to use, and it was friendly. They were good. We're not discriminating. We don't care about who you voted in 2015. We are not blaming anybody. We don't care about your sexual preferences, whether you are lactose intolerant. We don't care. We just want a situation where we do what governments cannot do for people. We fill in institutional gaps where there are gaps. So, and that was how we started. And then before we knew it, of course, all the plans that we have, milestones that we've created, we're able to meet every one of them. And all the lies they've told us about Nigerians, we found out that they were all lies. They were not true. Nigerians want people who can serve them selflessly. And if you don't have any agenda and you come straight to say, look, this is who I am, this is the problem I'm addressing, this is how I'm going about it, and this is where you come in, everybody will be able to know where to contribute and what to do. So we created a platform through which people can find expression, and we're able to solve the problem. And it's still an ongoing dialogue anyway, because we're engaging culture, and culture, there's no switch when you're engaging culture. So right now we have passed bills, right now we have laws in place, right now we are monitoring, we are evaluating, and we're engaging police. Police is now far more accountable than before. If a police officer shoots anybody today, we don't have this narrative of accidental discharge or known soldier. We have all those terms have died with the past years. And so we're moving forward, and very soon we have a police that we can be proud of.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm blown away by everything you said. And as you were speaking, something that actually came to my mind is the situation that's going on in the US at the moment with the George Floyd killing, and it weirdly mirrors each other, because obviously they are completely out of control, and there's all sorts of campaigns going on, defund the police and things like that, and at a time SARS was like that. So I just want to also talk about, because it's almost like you were sort of a revolutionary in a way in terms of the NSARS and what's going on around the world, but also in terms of how you were able to get other people to join you, because like I said earlier, it's one thing to have an idea for a movement and be so passionate, but it's another thing to be galvanized. And from what you said, everything about police aren't able to act without impunity like they were before, and even in terms of people feeling safe to speak out and things like that, how were you able to build a sort of structure in place so it wasn't just all noise and no substance?
Okay. What is happening in America and Nigeria, or globally and Nigeria, the only difference there is the way in which you engage. We are dealing with the same culture of impunity, where people see other people as subjects of oppression or that they need to subjugate, and people that they can easily oppress and the rest. So when we saw this, we realized that there's no amount of pressure we put on the government that they will disband the entire police system. It won't work. In America, things will not even work with the approach that they are having now, because if you fire all the police in the country, the new people you are going to bring in are still going to kill Black people. Why? Because you're dealing with a system and not a person. You understand? So when you're dealing with a culture, which is a way of life of a people, you need to go to the structural and institutional premise. That's where you are going to tweak that particular problem. For example, you want to change what you produce in a factory. If you produce candle in a factory, you don't fire all the staff on the candle assembly line and say, because I fired all the staff, when they put on the machine, coke will come out at the other end. No, you change the system, you change the modular arrangement of the equipment to produce a different thing. So that's precisely what we're doing by legislating, ensuring that we have people who mirror society, who are ready to serve society in the right places, and we join hands with the government, with the authorities, to make policies that work for the people. Now, we were able to succeed because we understand how the country works. We understand the necessary things that we need to do. We understand how the need to galvanize people. And when I say galvanize people, we need to find what is called common ground. In Nigeria or in any other country, like in America, for example, some will say they are Republicans, some will say they are liberals, some will say they are independent, some will say they are blacks, some will say they are white. So there is really no agreement whatsoever where everybody can come to the table, based on the humanity that we share, to say this concerns all of us. And unfortunately, the design of the advocacy itself, it was not all encompassing. Black Lives Matter. So it brings about an argument where everybody will be, the first thing you have to do is win an argument over what about all lives matter? Why are you saying all Black lives don't matter? So with that, when you have to argue your points or your advocacy design first before you begin to get into what you are, in other words, when you begin to waste a lot of energy in defining what you are not over what you are, then you have lost the narrative. You have lost a lot of audience already. So what we did was find common ground. What exactly is the common ground with Nigerians? When we know that husband and wife stab each other to death over disagreements, when we know that people cannot even agree on where to squeeze the toothpaste from. So how do you find common grounds amongst Nigeria, where we have Muslims, Igbos, Hausas, PDP, APC, people who like Wivon, people who don't like, people who like Bob Marley, who don't have, people who like it to be yellow, people who don't like to be yellow. You know, there's so many things that divides us. We are so diversified. So how do we get on? I realized one thing, that Nigerians love their children. Politicians will do anything to smuggle their children into positions. People are working hard so that they can give the best to their children. You know, people are proud to say, my son is in so university. He scored so and so. He went to Harvard. Now, pick that thing. If you notice, if you're a marketer and you're selling things that pertain to children, there's nothing you offer a parent that they will not want to afford for their children, because they want to use it to shoot their neighbor's eyes that I'm treating my children better than you are treating your children. So we decide to design an advocacy that caters to the future of everybody's children, regardless of who you are. And nobody wants any evil for their children. Nobody will want to wish upon their children what we're facing now. So we're leaving a legacy. You know, we keep asking people, look at the eyes, the face of your lovely children and tell them that you pray for them and tell them that you wish them to live through the Nigeria that you're living in. Nobody wants that. So they will do anything and support anything, you know, to ensure that the Nigeria their children works in, when they are already weak and they can no longer protest, is better than what they are working in now. And that was what worked. That was what brought us together. Whether politicians, governors, president, and all, they felt that, man, we are in this as well, because they too have children. And when they are no longer there, their children will not be presidents. They can burn them for their sins of their fathers. But if we unite now on this basis, nobody is attacking anybody else. We are all applying ourselves towards a common goal, which is to leave a better legacy for children coming behind us. So that was how, if you notice the CIAF logo, we have a tree there. We are planting trees under whose shade we probably would not see. So that's precisely what we're doing. Building generations, galvanizing enlightened leaders or transformational leaders and enlightened followers who are easy to govern, difficult to rule, impossible to enslave, towards the production of a system and a culture that delivers for everybody without fear or favor.
Amazing. I think, you know, what you said and the way you've united everybody under sort of thinking about the future and about the future of, you know, the children of Nigeria, I think it's really fascinating. And even as entrepreneurs, we can also take that lesson in terms of looking for a commonality, one thing that can sort of unify everybody or get everybody's attention. So let's pivot slightly to talk about entrepreneurship, because you're known as the NSARS person, but you're an entrepreneur as well. So I want to just talk about your entrepreneurship journey, how you got into it, because you do so many different things, and then also how the NSARS campaign has sort of, you know, shone a light on you, but has that also impacted your entrepreneurship in any way?
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. I must confess, a lot of people think I've probably I've been a staff in a lot of companies before, and I've gained a lot of experience and this and that and that. Yes, I have gained a lot of experience, but not as a staff. I've never in my life written an application before. I don't know how it looks like, what it looks like, and how to write it. I've never sent my CV anywhere before. I don't do that. I've never offered myself for service to anybody in that regard. My company doesn't write proposals. People know me for that. But yet, there's no industry that you go to that you will not hear the company name. But you know, and we don't market, we don't do websites. Why?
Really?
We allow, you know, like I told you, there's something called awareness and there's something called experience. We make evangelists of every single person that works with us or every single client that comes our way. They don't ever let us go. I have clients of 25 years. I have clients of 30 years. I have clients and they will never leave. We fire our clients and it's not the other way around. And why do I say that? And I've done this. I've realized something, that nobody is one thing. They said human beings are the windows through which the universe examines itself. In other words, nobody is just one thing. Jesus Christ never healed anybody the same way he has ever healed them. He has done there are so many ways in which he diversified his approach to people. To some, Just like the parable of the sower. There are some places where the things that you sow there will probably not grow. Just like business have seasons. Like the heartbeat, nobody's heartbeat is a straight line. If not, you are dead. It's undulating. The same way the business circle is undulating. There are seasons. So what happens to you if you have seen yourself and they say, "Who are you?" and you say, "I am a lawyer"? What happens when law no longer pays? What do you then do? You sell like Balumo. You don't just go into other things. People tell you that it's not only one road that leads to a market, but your life is not a market. You are a human being with experiences who knows fully well that not everybody will deal with you in your original state. People want to see their story in your story before they connect to you, which is one of the reasons why, if you look at the Bible, I refer to the Bible a lot because at least it's a meeting point, connection point where people,
Yes.
of course, it's infallible. They say something that the Christ is the epistle written in your heart, read by all men. In other words, you represent something. So as an entrepreneur, when I was growing up, when I was in school, I was writing a lot of business plans, for business I want to design, looking at myself from different prisms, what I mean to some people at certain things. While I was growing up, when I was going to school, there were some things I got busy with. I was blessed enough not to get to school on time. I wrote jams like 3 or 4 times or so, while my mother wanted me to be a medical doctor and I wanted to do something else. So while I was doing that, I was waiting for admission. I wasn't getting what I wanted. I was being given botany, I was being given physiology, and I said, no, this is what I want. If you are not giving me this, I'm not going to school. So while I was waiting, I was drawing, I was painting, I was doing graphics, I was doing cards, in fact, all the things that I was doing, they were just like out of this world. When I was making cards, my lyrics can win you 24 girlfriends in a week, if you are that kind of person. So I write words, I do stuff, I've been juggling words around for a while, I've been doing designs, and also all these things allowed me to see myself from different perspectives. So I wasn't looking at multiple streams of income. You see, there's so many things that we have seen from the textbook perspective, and it is limiting us. Rather than looking at doing several things because of several means of getting money, begin to tell yourself you want to tell your stories from several perspectives so that you are reaching different people who can find a solution in you, in their own journey and in their own story, enough to engage you based on what they have seen. Not everybody will tell you or see you from the same perspective. For example, you may write a blog and nobody will visit that blog because it's a common culture amongst Blacks or Nigerians generally that they don't read anything too longer than a tweet. Not that they don't like reading, but they just don't like a case where they will be too engrossed in something. And again, it's screen time. People don't look at the screen for too long unless they're watching a video, reading gossip, or those who are into pornography or what have you. So there must be something that holds your attention to that thing. So how do you begin to get people's attention enough for them to stay onto your channels? There are some people that will never understand anything unless it is in statistics. In other words, you're telling them a story. You have to say 3 in 4 or so and so are guilty of this. 2 in 1 are this. 60% of this. If you don't have that in anything you're writing, it won't interest them. And on some people, they are averse to numbers. They don't want to hear numbers. Just use allegories, use stories, use this, use that. So how do you begin to make the view of your product, the view of yourself, the view of your person, a voice instead of being a noise? And what is a noise? A noise is anything that is not relevant. A noise is anything that is not welcome. A noise is anything that is not trusted. A noise is anything that is not that people cannot engage with. But you begin to be a voice when people can see relevance in what you're saying, when they can engage with it, when they can vilify it, when they can criticize it, when they can, that's why I love Twitter as a platform. You see, when you tweet your idea out there and a lot of people come to misconstrue, do you mean, are you saying, and all those things, and they try to tear it apart. If it survives that platform, it can survive anywhere in the world. Because that's exactly how you test ideas. That's the platform and the laboratory to which you test your ideas, which was one of the reasons why we picked Twitter for our advocacy, not Facebook. Because Facebook is a society of your mother-in-law, your parents, your people that went to school with you, who know you already, who believe that this one, is it not this one? I know you finished now. What are you doing? I'm not even, don't mind him. He's just trying his luck. They won't give you the kind of attention you want. If it's Instagram, once your writing is getting too much, nobody will like it. And the moment they don't like your presentation or whatever you put out, the depression comes in. That's when your family come together as one and talk to themselves. Please come and like before she hangs himself, or all this kind of stuff. So, but Twitter itself, it is vicious. It prepares you for the world, and it helps you to define your voice. So this is how you diversify your portfolio. This is how you begin to say, these are the many aspects of me that I want people to know. Most of the people I'm doing business with today, did not know me as a business person, did not know me as a strategist, did not know me as a crisis manager or reputation manager. They knew me as a DJ. Some
Wow.
people just, I used to do, where's that thing? Yeah, I used to do Project X compilation. I a lot of people about this in traffic anyway, many years ago, 2000, 2003 and all. I make gospel compilation and the rest. And I used to go out once in a while to DJ for parties. And I always tell myself, when I come to events, of course, then there were we don't have much DJs, gospel DJs at that time. We're only 2 or 3. So when I come around, I ask myself, am I coming here to play music for people? Am I coming here to create an experience? Now, I realized that when I started thinking from the experience part, nobody argues with my charges anymore. And when I go to event, nobody says, yeah, papa, come and start to go. They keep me there till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. because they cannot no longer go home. They are enjoying themselves. There's some music I'll play in succession that will make you think about certain things, that will unlock a lot of memories. And before you know it, you are drinking 1 carton. Before you know it, you are not going home. You're calling your wife to come and join you at the event. So from there, I started learning how to engage people, how to diversify my portfolio. That the same way I'm running my business, from going to parties to create an environment there and all, and these are not just any parties. These are parties of, high network individuals. So parties where they can talk to their friends while there is something in the background, creating that platform for them to enjoy themselves. And they will never forget it. Can I have the CD of that event that you did, so and so and so? I would say it's 2,000 naira. Then when money still have value, they won't mind, they will pay. So I was making money from the experience that I was giving people, even without asking for it. While I was focused on my professionalism and telling myself, I must perfect the things that I do in such a way that when people experience the way I deliver it, when they say law, or when they say this, or they say that, your name will come to their mind, not anybody else. So that's exactly how.
I love what you said, and I actually want to touch on 2 of the things you said. So one of the things you said that completely fascinated me was when you said you've never had to submit a proposal, so it's almost like, how they talk about the law of attraction. So it's almost like you're attracting your customers and your clients, as opposed to what 80% of people do, which is, hustling. And because there's this hustle mentality that you have to strive, you have to walk, you have to sweat, before you can actually get work, earn money, get clients. So I want to talk about that, how you were able to do that. And secondly, also about your, what else did you mention? Yeah, just you said showing different sides of your personality. So if you're not an extroverted person, because I can see you have so much energy, you're so enthusiastic, and you're really able to connect with people. You have the gift of the gab, and all that kind of thing. So I feel like that may be something that comes naturally to you. But if there's people watching who maybe don't necessarily have the gift of the gab, but they also want to do what you're doing, they want to, and I love what you said, because I feel like you've turned that concept of multiple streams of income on its head by saying expressing different sides of yourself. It makes it seem more organic and more natural, as opposed to multiple ways to make money. So how can people do those 2 things, both attract customers, clients themselves, and also express different sides of themselves, or feel comfortable enough? Because like you said, you mentioned your mother wanted you to be a doctor, but you ended up obviously, in technology, consulting, all different sorts of things. But, there's people who in their families, they're expected to be a certain, maybe, they're a lawyer, they're a doctor, an accountant, and they're just used to being seen in that one way. But like the example you gave, they want to be a DJ on the weekends. How can they, because sometimes it's hard to actually say those things out loud for fear of being judged, or for fear of people not accepting other parts of your talents, I guess. So how can people go about expressing that?
Okay, let me put it this way. Like I said, nobody is one thing. In the course of, when you talk about business, people think of money. There's no money coming to me, all the money coming to you. When you go to church, they say, who are the millionaires they want to make here? In everywhere we go, we think of money first. When our parents want to help us choose a profession or what they want us to do, they will look at how much can you make, from this kind of particular business, how much, excuse me, I'm coming. How much can you make from this business? How rich can you get over time? Because they don't want a case where they will raise somebody who will go to school and come back and be staying in their house and be asking for money for food with other nieces and nephews and other people. So, you want to ask yourself, number one, am I passionate about this thing that I'm doing? Is it the best thing? Is it the best thing that I can do? Is it something that I love doing that I can do for the rest of my life without anybody, without me feeling bored about it? And also, again, is this something the world wants? And is this something that can bring money to me eventually, so that at least I can maintain myself with this? I can buy my equipment with this. I can ship in things I want to ship in to be the best of, that I can be. Most of the time, it's just ideas, having fun, as far as I'm concerned, when you're looking at multiple streams of income and how to do the kind of things that I do, across board. I see it as a journey. Okay, I'm journeying into this. So what is this law? Waiting lawyer, they do safe, as some people used to say. What is this law about? Okay, in my course, as an essay surveyor and valuer, law is one of our core courses. You do it from the beginning of your life to the end. And if you are very good at it, and within that course itself, there is valuation there. In fact, there are so many professions within that particular course. So when you graduate as a professional, you are a lot of things in a lot of things. So, and you can practice on every field. You can decide to go and further in law and then become a SAN if you so choose to, and be doing arbitration and be doing interlocutory things and all, which is what I do now, and all. But looking at it from the economic angle, when people run after cash, streams of income from the perspective of cash, you are chasing the lowest, denominator of wealth. And that is transferable, is the most common. A beggar can make money. So why are you limiting yourself to just making money? When the theory and the ladder of wealth itself, first of all, is about companionship. How much relationship are you building? Remember, I told you when I was a DJ, I play music that people can relate with. And with that, I get appointments where business people don't even get appointments. They will invite you to Shell to come and meet their boss because of the music you listen to in somebody's car. And they say, I must meet this DJ. I love the way he puts music together. And then from there, so what do you do? And then I get to introduce my business to them verbally and say, no, we must engage you. Why? You have excelled. You don't get promoted until you are overqualified for your present position. So when you get to a place and they say, I love the way your music, in fact, I've gotten about 10 of your CDs, and they still claim that there are still other titles. Can you make me a carton? I want every staff vehicle that we have in this company to have your music, because I want to be able to engage the mindset of my managers. So I was making a lot of killing on CDs alone.
Wow.
And I was paying people school fees. I was doing stuff. I was in school. And because of like I said, I make evangelists of my clients. Every experience with me, you will never forget it. Whether we're talking like this on Instagram or so. I can also tell you also, in practical terms, how I met your husband. We were dressing up in a room. We were dressing up in a room, and our hairdress, what they call them, fashion makeup artists, and the head. So they just merged us together in a room. That, okay, you people, you look alike, and you are all of you are fair. You all have the same complexion, so to say. Of course, the light make me fairer. So they put us all together. Okay, when men meet, when you meet boys, there are certain things that you see, the way they converse and all. But when you meet men and leaders who are going somewhere, you talk about issues of the state. You start from the country. What are we doing to better the situation? What are we doing to engage the public? What are we doing to at least make an impact? And then from there, we begin to tell our own stories of what precisely am I doing? And then how is it relevant to what other people are doing? And then where do we collaborate? So from there, a relationship was built. We became companions, and we started having a relationship based on the stories that we were telling. And then from there, they mentioned some things that they were going into, and how what I've just said is very relevant to what they required. And I saw from the stories that they are telling, how what they are doing can also foster my advocacy. Because business-wise, not everybody can afford me business-wise. And because of that, nobody probably knew my name all the years I was building companies. Because people will not know unless I mention it today that I was a broadcast engineer with High TV. We're building dishes. We're the one that took rights from DSTV many years ago. And we had a formidable company. Our customer care was top notch. Everything we're doing was perfect. In fact, when we go and tell our stories at the banks, they don't give us loan. They give us a blank check and say, you know what, guys, go and feel anything you like. I like your business model. I like your spirit. And I want this to be real. And that's exactly that was how I grew. So from building companies, building business plan and all. And before I wrote my thesis in school, my project was still pending when I got invited to Redeem Camp to come and write a business plan and do stuff for Daddy Gio on Dove Media. He wanted to build a media company, a one-stop center where people can come in, record their stuff, do videos and all. I don't say a one-stop center anyway, studio, music, art, and whatever. And all he wanted was, look, I just want to preach a message anywhere in the world, and I want it to get spread. I don't want to be begging people for their network. So we built something bigger than that. From that, it went from a music center, a studio, to a TV station. From a TV station, it went to an internet company. So many things. So which is to tell you that you can build multiple streams of income by just expressing the multiple sides of yourself. Because we are gods, and it makes a lot of meaning. Apple as a company that makes computer, it's not just one company. And they are not doing multiple streams of income by selling coconut. What they are doing is they are looking at their business model and seeing the different ways in which to engage people or create platforms through people can express themselves. They built an operating system. From there, they realized that if they leave the market alone with just their operating system, there will be companies that will come and buy their licenses to make hardware for them. If that hardware gets faulty, nobody will know who to blame, whether it's the software provider or the hardware provider. So Apple decided to do what they call an integrated system, which has hardware, software, and apps. So you cannot even build an app on Apple platform unless you are an Apple developer. So that way, they have a one-stop center for all the things that they have done. So the same way, you as an individual, you are not meant to do one thing. You are a one-stop center for everything related to what you do. And it's a spectrum. You can't even count it. When you see somebody say multi-talented, there's no such thing as multi-talented. We are all multi-talented. It's just that we're not aware. So apart from companionship, competence. What is competence? Ability and capability, and conscientiousness to practice one thing, become perfect in it enough, to all the world, to make the world, scream when you express yourself towards that particular thing. And you can develop competencies across board, especially now that the world is in our hands. You have a phone. From your mobile phone or internet connectivity, there's nothing you cannot learn. Give yourself 6 months from now, you can actually be a wonderful lawyer. Give yourself 6 months, you can learn engineering. Give yourself 6 months, all the things you used to fail back in school when you're trying to read to pass. You can learn it to be perfect now and apply yourself in society. So it's just this initiative and the push that is necessary for people to understand the multiple streams through which they can make money, not just by chasing paper money, but by creating value. What value are you bringing?
Amazing. I feel like everyone is really amped up in the comment section. I know they want to start, asking questions, but before I go to questions, I want to talk about the pandemic, because this year I think the pandemic is the biggest thing to have sort of disrupted our lifestyles. The traveling we're going to do, all the plans that we had, even our movements, everything is pretty much not really screeched to a halt. But obviously, this year is very different to what we were thinking 2020 would be in 2019. Yeah. So I want to talk about how it's affected you personally and professionally, and what steps that you've taken in order to sort of navigate these very sort of tricky times.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we were ahead of our time. The pandemic itself, our business model was designed to withstand anything, storm, pandemic, hurricane, what have you. Because why? It's a business of relationship. You see, in those days when we're in primary school, nursery school, secondary school, they define a market as a place. But the market is no longer a place. It's now an arrangement. So with the internet, the market can be anywhere. Some of us don't even get away from our bed before we finish the business of the day. So what kind of relationship are you building? What competencies do you have? What credibility have you built over the years? In other words, what's your goodwill? You can't say, okay, we want to protest about this and I'm coming out to lead it. If you don't have the goodwill, nobody will follow you. Where's your integrity? Are you going to sell us out and run for election? Are you going, those are the kind of, so regardless of what you're doing, whether it's a business, people want to grow with you. Your customers don't want to leave you. They want to see the updates that you're bringing to your software. They want to see the new product that will come based on the utility that they have designed, they've derived from using your product. For example, what exactly is your service culture? What is your service quality? What exactly is your service utility? In other words, if I go to your branch or if I talk to anybody who works in your organization, are they going to treat me the way your boss is treating me? Is there a culture in your attitude? And then are you consistent? How long have you been in this business? And now what is your authenticity? Of course, not everybody comes to your program. You are a big star and you have a wonderful network. People like us, ordinary citizens like us, shouldn't be showing up here. But if not for the little stories that must have gone out, the authenticity, the credibility, the competence, the relationship, and the kind of network that you have, and all. And as you know, it's not also about the billboards or the advert that you run on TV. Really, it's about how many people who are talking about your product, your services, the experience they've had using that particular product. So with that in mind, with the structure you're built in the hearts and the minds, regardless of where you are in the world, whether you're living in your bedroom or not, your business stands. They know your ethics, they know your policies, they know what you stand for, they know what they can get from you, they know that your service can be rendered to them regardless, because we are in the business of building strategies and some other things. And our advocacy also, we are not a cabin biscuits sharing organization just to get grants. In fact, we don't get grants from external sources and all. What we do is, because of the nature of our business and the capital intensivity of the things, the services we render, we give a huge chunk of our percentages of our income into the advocacy as our corporate social responsibility, So that's what we do. So we feel, before it was just the CIAF, Social Intervention Advocacy Foundation, that people know today as the convener of NSAS and the rest of it, used to be a corporate social responsibility of Aliens Media, which is our firm. But nobody knows Aliens Media as such, because it's only a niche market for HNIs. But now that they started feeling the impact of their corporate social responsibility, it became too big for the company to manage. So it had to become an NGO on its own. But it's not an NGO as such, but it's an institution. So everything we do, they are interwoven. The same way Apple is very careful and very concerned and committed to environment, to ensuring that we don't poison the environment, ensuring that they are socially responsible. And the same way Aliens Media is towards the things that they're doing. So a lot of people, we know the corporate social responsibility, which is CIAF, more than they know Aliens Media. So the pandemic itself has actually made all the plans and the policies that we put in place and our modus operandi to be glaring. Our culture is now being adopted by the world, because this is exactly how we work. Everybody who works in Aliens Media, Aliens Media, and also in CIAF are scattered all over the world. They are working from wherever they are working from. They have their deliverables. We have our normal, our normal meeting on Zoom and all. But now you people have come to clock the Zoom. So you're not meeting us on Zoom.
Yes, we're all on Zoom now. We're enjoying it.
On Instagram Live and the rest of it. And this is how we make our meeting. Everybody makes their submission, their presentations, and we get so much done. So our offices are not just a place where people come and do Yahoo chat or anything, or come to work and wait for salary. Everybody have a duty. They have a responsibility. They are handling one thing or the other, and they are a leader in their own regard. And they have built their own relationship as well around the firm. So they can do a lot of things. So they are making money as they are earning from Aliens Media, they are earning from CIAF, they are earning from so many other things that they get their hands to do, and they are becoming more competent in the things that they do. So that lowest part, the lowest form of wealth, which is cash, is nothing to us, because we just see it as an errand, as a means to an end, something we need to get things done. So it's not something we are all working for. So the value of the company is actually bigger than any money can interpret. So you don't look at our bank account and then look at what we do. You can't comprehend it. So you can always think based on the experience you have with our brand, whether as a corporate social responsibility services or as a company, you begin to see the value it adds to you, and then you value us based on that. And that's more important than dealing with cash. So with that, there's so many interfaces through which money comes in, and it helps us to be more responsible in being there for the vulnerable in society.
I think you've caused a mindset shift for a lot of people, especially when you talked about, money, and how money is not the only source of sort of, measuring currency or measuring impact. Yeah. And I think, as business owners as well, you talked about, providing excellent service, making sure that you're giving something valuable, and also relationships. I think we all kind of have an idea that that's important, but I think what you've done is putting it at the core and at the forefront of your business, and, all the wonderful results you've gotten that we can see, and even incorporating that CSR model at the heart of what you do is so admirable. And I know that you've touched a lot of people today who are watching and who are going to watch us as well on our replay. Let's go to the comment section now, because I know people have been itching to ask their questions. So I'm just going to put a few of them to you. So you guys, if you have your questions, some great comment here. This is awesome, spitting bars and fire. All your fans are in the comment section. There's a lot of them. So let's go to our first question, and it's Kimberly. She says, I sell thrift wares online. I want to expand, but sourcing and capital is my problem. Any advice?
Capital is never your problem. Please note that. Capital is, you can find it on the floor. You can do anything. And most of the time, when you even get the capital you need, you are not going to put it on that clothesline in that business. You're going to have something else that will be shining in your eyes. Understand something. They say laughter is timeless. Imagination has no age, and dreams are forever. This is how your brand should be. Build a brand for yourself. You will see people throwing money at you and say, Sega, what is your new project? Is there anything you're working on that you need money for? I have never been I'll give you an example. I have never, when banking started, making waves in those days before they recapitalized most of them, I told myself I will never go to a bank. I told myself I will never keep money in any bank because I know I can always make money from anything. If I need anything now, I know how to generate income, do something, get money from it, use it for what I want to use it for, and then go my way. So I told myself, by the time I start banking, people will come to my office to open an account and they'll be running that way. And it happened so. And it was long before people started having marketers and what have you. And so the same way, there are projects that we want to do. We may not have the money, but we act as though we have all the money in the world. And that's the advice I'm going to give you today. How will you behave? What decisions will you make if you have the entire central bank at your disposal? So that's exactly how you should make decisions. Never believe the lies that it is money that is stopping you from doing anything. You have something within you. You have data, for example. You are watching this today. You can actually, you can read more about stuff. You're selling clothes. How are you selling clothes? Are you just going to the market, packing clothes, and then looking for who is naked that you want to clothe? No. Find the reason behind your clothes. What are you selling with your clothes? What ideal are you selling with your clothes? Nobody buys from you because of the product or because of your quality or anything. The only reason why people buy stuff is because of the stories behind it. Why do you think the same products are selling, what is the same product in the same product line, are selling at different prices? Why is it that a shoe that has Jordan's symbol on it is selling far higher than another the same design of shoe that has a Abba written on it? Why is it so? It's because of the responsibility, the brand, the credibility behind that brand, the name that has been, the stories associated with it. If I wear a Nike or I wear an Adidas or so, there's a story behind those brands. You understand? If I wear something that Tiger Woods or a glove that has Tiger Woods' name on it, it begins to make me feel, yes, I'm Tiger Woods now. Just like a child who is wearing a pajamas of Superman or Spider-Man. He sleeps in that spirit. He dreams in that spirit. He wants to jump off the bed to another bed because he feels he's Spider-Man right now. What value are you bringing to people who engage with your brand? The people who engage with what you're selling, what value are they getting from buying from you, and why should they buy from you? The major thing you need to take home there is brand differentiation. What separates you from other people selling clothes? Once you can define that, you can establish that, you'll make money. There will be people who want to invest in you so that when you begin to sell your clothes and people begin to associate it with certain stories that they can relate with, you all make money together.
Amazing. I love that. You made me laugh when you talked about the child and the Spider-Man, because I have some nieces and nephews that are all into that as well. So I can totally connect with what you're saying. So more questions, or you guys, we're still here for you. We have another about 5 minutes to go. So if you do have any more questions for SEGAlink, you guys, you cannot afford his consulting fees though. So this is the only time you're going to get to ask all your questions. Not the only time, but this is a good opportunity to ask your questions. So please don't be shy. Any questions that you have, please do put them out there. So in the meantime, I want to talk more about storytelling, because I think it's so powerful. Like you said, most of the biggest brands in the world, they offer us stories. You talked about Jordans, things like Amazon. We know it's all about Prime, fast delivery, good quality, get it to you same day or next day. So all these brands, they stand for something. So as smaller brands, people who own businesses in the SME space, because when one talks about storytelling, it can be quite broad and quite general. So how can we infuse storytelling into our brands in a way that is scalable? Because these brands, they have millions of dollars to amplify their stories. They can buy all the ad space online, they can do billboards, all these different things. But in the SME sector, we're a little bit smaller than that. So how can we also have that same impact, but on our own SME budgets?
Okay, thank you. We need to start from somewhere. You need to build. Okay, it is retweeting me and people started listening to my voice. There were days when I used Twitter as a diary. I just tweet to myself. And then the year after, I used Facebook as well. The year after, I'll go back to what I said last year. I'll see the relevance of my journey to what happened last year to know whether I've been going around in circles or I'm actually making progress. And sometimes I am simply giving a future gift or leaving a gift behind for my future self. So when in future I read certain things I wrote 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I begin to tell myself, oh, this was my level of thinking as at that time. And how has it changed? What has changed since then? What do I think about this ideal? So if you are building a brand, you are building from the beginning. You are building authenticity. You are building a story for yourself. Ask yourself, what am I going to do? How am I going to improve myself enough for people to look at me and say, this should be the face of our brand. This should be the brand ambassador. What exactly are they looking for in a brand ambassador? In other words, you have disciplined yourself so much in certain things that people want that discipline in their own product. They want it associated with their product. There is a reason why some people will say, you know what, this is the person we want to be talking about our brand. Because everything concerning him, when people mention his name, this is how they feel. If his name stands for justice, if his name stands for integrity, if his name stands for quality, if his name stands for competence, if it stands for conscientiousness, if it stands for social perceptiveness or emotional and intellectual coordination or self-control or genuineness of concern or empathic accuracy or attunement, even ordinary listening is a service. Ability to listen with full receptivity, it's something. Because a lot of people are talking. There's a lot of noise out there. When you say you're selling shoes, in a world where everybody is just selling shoes because somebody made money from shoe selling, what do? Use brand differentiate. Ask yourself, who are selling children's shoes? So that when you begin to cut down those things like that from the noise, you can make a statement by saying, if you want to buy anything for your children, just come here. We don't do anything else other than children's shoes. Or if you're looking for women's shoes, come here. So you have already differentiated your brand from the crowd. So when I was tweeting, I wasn't tweeting after trends. I wasn't looking forward to trending. Okay, I was looking forward to maintaining a particular ideal, which is, this is my deep conviction, this is my view of the world, and this is how I respond to certain things, not to react, mind you. You know, once you are beginning to show how you stand, everybody wants to hear your thoughts because they know that you are unique. And for Twitter, for my Twitter space, I started using what they call the Python commentary. My commentaries are always different. When you read my commentary, you know that this is Sega. Because the truth is, no two saxophonists sounds alike. So why should your business be looking like somebody else's business? You understand? So if you know what you're doing, you have no competition whatsoever. Anybody who tries to copy you will be promoting your business because they will be like you. Okay? They will be like a signboard pointing at you. So no matter how small your business is, define it. Let it have its authenticity. Let people see it and associate it with you. No matter how long that journey may take, continue on it. Be consistent. Be disciplined about it. Stand for something. Let them differentiate it. When they put, for example, when they say, somebody want to buy, let's say you're selling clothes, for example, and they say, you want to buy so clothes. Let them know that when they see your clothes anyway, they know that you must have bought this from Bobo J. Because Bobo J's clothes are the ones that comes with this label, or they are the ones that smells this way, or they are the ones that you don't need to iron, or they are the ones that, there must be something unique about your brand that is not common in the market. So what is that thing? What is your selling point? What is your story? It could be a story, it may be anything ordinary anyway, but it's about the stories behind it. What story are you telling?
I love that. So insightful. I hope you guys have heard that. And I hope that you're going to take it on board. So before we go, we have another, I think, like I said 5 minutes before, I think we have another 5 minutes or 4 minutes. So let's take this question. So, someone's asked about getting a loan. I'm not going to answer that question. I'm not going to put that to you because I feel like it's quite, like you said, there's other ways to answer that.
Why you're looking for the next? Okay.
Let me take the more insightful one, and then we can add that to it. So someone said, does your organization's corporate social responsibility strategy match the availability of your current resources?
Okay. You cannot have all the resources in the world. If not, there won't be reason behind the study of economics. Resources are generally scarce.
We have a minute. We have a minute to go, just saying.
Okay, so you cannot have all the resources in the world. So you need to be able to manage your resources. And there's no such thing as having abundant resources or having very little resources. It depends on how you prioritize and how your scale of preference is. So for us, we're able to meet our needs because we're scalable. There's no amounts that we cannot use for anything because it's not about the money, really. There are some things that our relationship gets us that no money can buy. So that's exactly how we manage what we do. So if you don't want to spend cash, build relationship, build goodwill, be consistent with what you do, have enough credibility and integrity enough to carry on big projects without spending big money.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. Well, we have about 46 seconds. So I'm just going to, before Instagram takes back its real estate, I want to say a really big thank you to SEGAlink. Thank you so much. I feel like we've gone to Harvard Business School and we've had a 1 hour session on, you know, how to scale in Nigeria, multiple streams of income, which you have rebranded into just expressing your different gifts and talents, and also, you know, about the activism side as well, about, you know, using Twitter to amplify your voice and also to sort of gain, I guess, gain recognition in a certain space. We're so grateful to you. Thank you so much. And I'd love to have you on Smartpreneur when we're next filming the TV show. Everyone in the comments has just been clapping and just saying different things. So I know they really enjoyed it as well. So thank